Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Akil, and welcome to a special video where it's that time of year for me to stop and rank all the seasons of TV I saw this year, guys. Now I usually do this like mid to late November, early December. If you've seen my previous videos, ever since 2020, since the decade started, I've been doing these TV ranking videos on my channel. This is an annual thing for me because I do like to go back and reflect and think about like what are some of my favorite seasons of TV, or like what are some of the shows that really stood out to me that year. And I know people like making lists on like Serialized, which is like a TV show version of Letterboxd to like log and review TV shows and stuff, and that's great and all. But for me personally, I prefer doing this on YouTube so I can express my thoughts and you guys can chime in the comments down below and tell me what you think about this ranking. So there's that. Now this year I saw 31 seasons of TV, so there's quite a bit to get through. So without any more time wasting, let's jump right into the ranking, shall we? So coming in number 31, we have Agatha All Along. And this is by far the most like, how do I even describe it? Like it kept building. I I don't think disappointing and underwhelming is the right word. That's why I was gonna say, but I don't think it fits that at all. The next show does, but this one doesn't. This is like the most pointless show I've ever seen. That's the word I'm actually looking for. Pointless. And it's like I just said before, it's building, and then when you get to the finale, it's like, really, that's it? Yeah. So for me, Agatha All Along was not the show that I was expecting it to be, nor was I even looking forward to it. Like my brothers just said, just watch it. Come on, it's part of the MCU. How can you not watch, an MCU show? Like I didn't watch What If. I saw the first episode and that's it. I never even watched I Am Groot. Hell, I still have not seen The Incredible Hulk, but that one I actually will watch. Don't worry. So there's that. But am I glad I watched this? No, not really. Do I recommend it? No, not really. But at the same time, it does contain, elements of like WandaVision a bit here and there. And this is part of the WandaVision trilogy, I guess you could say that. So we have WandaVision, we had this, and now we're getting Vision Quest to kind of wrap it up, which is so weird that this is part of the trilogy, but I can kind of understand why. My favorite episode of the show was the weekend episode. Oh, like it just focused on Billy, right? That's his name, right? Or is it Tommy? I forgot. Either way though, that episode and Joe Walk's performance in the episode was really solid, really good. Everything else was just whatever for me. So that's why it's at the bottom of the list. Alright. Number 30 is going to be Echo, and these are the only two seasons of TV this year. I'll give a 6 out of 10 to. Everything else, I'll give a 7 or above. So that's saying what? This was not that bad of a year, guys, but still, we got two mid seasons, so there's that. But Echo, wow, this is the most disappointed I've ever been in my entire life when it comes to DMC because I was so excited for it. The TVMA rating alone had me very excited. They would not hold anything back. But then the moment I saw it, the moment I watched it and it was done, I was like, okay, now I get why they released all the episodes at once. Thank God, because this is not a show you want people waiting week to week, because people will not come back week to week. I guarantee you. This show had some of the most boring and unmemorable side characters I've ever seen, or supporting characters I've ever seen in my life. They did not stand out to me. The characters, the acting wasn't bad. It was just what they were doing, and they were focusing on random storylines and stuff. When Echo was on screen, it was great. When Kingpin was on screen, it was great. When both Kingpin and Echo were on screen, it was great. Both Vincent D'Onofrio and Alco Hawks did a great job. Also, Daredevil was wasted in this show. They just put him in the trailer so people could watch it. I don't get it. Anyway, at least you had some solid action, and at least you had some solid performances. If not, this would be a total atrocity. However, I pulled through. I watched all 5 episodes, which, can I just say, the fact that this show alone has 5 episodes is like remarkable. It was 5, right? I'm pretty sure it was, because man, if they dragged it out to 6, it might be a 5 out of 10, which I've never given a show or a season of TV a 5 out of 10 yet. So this could have been that close contender, same as Agatha, but at least both shows had the solid performances and acting to back it up. Also, I would rather watch the entirety of She-Hulk over Agatha, but I would choose to watch Echo over She-Hulk and Agatha. That kind of makes sense. Like that Daredevil episode alone, in my opinion, I enjoyed more, so much more over the entirety of Echo. That's just how I feel. But All three of these shows, Agatha, She-Hulk, and Echo, are all 6 out of 10 shows, with Echo being my favorite out of the three of them. So there's that. Alright, now getting into the good seasons of TV I saw this year. Number 29 is Stargate SG-1 Season 7. And this is one of those shows that I mentioned it before, like X-Files, because there's so many episodes in a season. It's really hard for me to remember what happened in each episode. So all I'm going to say is that I enjoyed it. I liked it. SG-1 has never really let me down fully. Like, it's one of those consistent shows in my eyes. But if you look at my TV ranking, which I've not put out yet, and for obvious reasons, because there's a lot of shows there, but I haven't even hit 100 shows yet. So this that. But anyway, SG-1, the biggest problem, like some of these long-running cable network shows, there's just a lot of episodes in them. So, like I just said before, I'm going to say is that it's good. I enjoyed it. I liked it. It's a consistent show. It's not blown me away like season 2 and 4 did back like when I started watching the show in 2021, which is a while ago now, I would say. So there's that. Not that long ago, but that was like 3 years ago. So there's that. But anyway, I enjoyed season 7. Can't say I loved it. But it was a nice little return to form because season 6, you know, one of the members of the group were not there. Daniel was not there, and then you had what's his name? Quinn? What's the character's name? I even forgot his name. But either way though, it was a nice little return to form, even though it wasn't the strongest season. So there's that. Alright, number 28 is Unreal Season 3. And yes, I did continue Unreal this year. However, I only saw seasons 2 and 3, so there you go. But I did not see season 4 because, one, I wanted to move on to another show as soon as possible. I was more interested in watching that show than this. And two, I also felt like after season 3, I felt like the show just could have ended. Like, it was a nice little ending and way to wrap up the show. But no, they brought it back for fourth and final season, which was 8 episodes, which I don't understand why they decided to make it shorter, but oh well. But this season's my least favorite just because they played it very safe. And this time, because it was more bachelorette than bachelor, the person themselves, the suitor, so to say, the suitress was really, really unlikable compared to the other two guys that they had in the previous 2 seasons. So there's that. Alright, number 27 is going to be Attack on Titan Season 1, aka AOT Season 1. And yes, there is a very big gap between Season 1 and 2. So don't worry, don't think that, oh, I'm an AOT hater. If you've seen my reviews, you know how I feel, especially about the first half of the show. But this show started off not the best for me. It was kind of slow, kind of boring. I don't know what it is, but I still pulled through and watched everything that the show had to offer. So overall, I enjoyed Season 1. I liked Season 1, but man, there were some things about it that I was not the biggest fan of overall. Alright, number 26 is Stargate Atlantis Season 1. And I could finally say I started watching this show this year. Finally, after buying that Blu-ray box set back in late 2020. It was sitting on my shelf for such a long time. I finally opened it and actually watched those damn Blu-rays. Yeah. Anyway, I enjoyed I enjoyed Atlantis Season 1 overall. But it's still, that's not like quick the same way for me as SG-1. I feel like it's one of those things where because you're so used to watching something, and then when it comes to like a sequel, like continuation of it, like the predecessor will always like hold a special place in your heart. And that's the same I could say for like most other things as well, like in franchises, like the first film sometimes does that. But in this case, I do prefer SG-1 just a tad bit more, not a lot more, but just a tad bit more. But it's still good. I still like Atlantis. The mid-season finale and the season finale of Season 1 were both solid, and I'm interested to see where the rest of the show goes from here. Alright, number 25 is going to be Stargate SG-1 Season 8, and this was definitely better than Season 7. I feel like the episodes were a lot more stronger here. Again, honestly, I can't remember much about the season because I did watch this season way back at the start here. And like I said before, for Season 7, there's a lot of episodes in this season again. But the last 3 seasons all have like 20 episodes. Like just 20 straight, not like 21, 22, whatever. So thank God for that. But this is the final season with Richard Dean Anderson playing Jack O'Neill, which is unfortunate because he made the show for me. And without him, it's going to feel very weird and strange. But I'm still watching it because you still got Sam and Daniel and Teal'c. So, yeah. But either way, though, I'm going to miss Jack O'Neill. But I do know he kind of comes back in, like, the movies and stuff. Maybe he appears in Atlantis. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure Sam does. I got spoiled by that. But either way, though, I am sad that I won't see any more of Jack O'Neill in the small on the small screen, but maybe on the like miniature big screen, if that kind of makes sense, because there are two like made for TV movies, I believe. So there's that. All right, number 24 is One Piece season 18, and unfortunately this is not one of my favorite seasons of One Piece and favorite arcs, which this is Zou, right? Zao, Zou, I think Zou, right? Yeah. But this is a shorter, like one of the more shorter arcs and seasons, which is kind of shocking considering how long Dressrosa was, and we'll get to that when we get to it. Don't worry, I have something to say about that when we get to it. But anyway, this was solid, it was fun, but definitely not as memorable and as strong and as fun as exciting as some of the other story arcs and seasons that I have seen of One Piece so far. Alright, number 23 is Yu Yu Hakusho Season 1, and this was a really solid first season. I enjoyed it, I liked it, but you can definitely feel the age of this show because it did come out in the 90s, but I'm glad I watched Yu Yu Hakusho, guys. I am. Now I understand why it, holds a special place in a lot of people's hearts, because it's one of those first like 90s anime that I think truly made an impact, kind of like Dragon Ball did back in the day and DBZ did as well, which they both of those shows. But this show, you can definitely feel the DBZ and Dragon Ball inspiration in it, in terms of like some of the fighting, the moves and all that. But the story is very different. This season did a nice job of introducing us to the world, the story, the characters. That's what any first season of a show should do. And that first episode did a really good job of setting the whole story up. Like the whole conflict as to what, like, Yusuke, like, why Yusuke wants to do what he wants to do. So, that's that. Alright, number 22 is Yu Hakusho Season 2. And this was better than Season 1 just because it's a tournament. That alone proves why I like it more. There's more action. However, there is not much of a story here because it's just a tournament. If you've seen anime, you know what to expect when it comes to like these type of things. But I still liked it. And they did a great job with making Toguro, if that's his name, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Toguro, a very interesting character. And his relationship with another character, that I won't spoil. I won't spoil that. But the way they did that was very interesting. And I thought that was handled very well. But overall, it was still a solid season, just didn't blow me away in terms of like the storyline overall. Alright, number 21 is Unreal Season 2. And yes, Unreal Season 2 also did not make it into the top 20 because, again, this is not like one of the shows that I was like so in love with and all that. It's not that high in my TV ranking. Even though Season 1 was quite high, that was like 14 or 13. But I was genuinely surprised by that. But this is my favorite season, but just compared to these other seasons of TV I saw this year, if that kind of makes sense, like it's not as strong and I don't like praise it as high as some of these others overall. So there's that. But this is my favorite season out of the three for 1 year, and Monica Barbara, which if you see her in this show and this season particularly, you know why I bring that up. But besides her, I thought this season felt a little more ambitious, a little more risky. It became a little more like darker and maybe more violent. I don't know. But either way though, this season definitely took things up a notch. And I really respect the show for doing that. But it's not a show I would really recommend to anyone because it's very female driven. But I watched it mainly for the plot. And no, not like, oh, you watch a show for the plot and the plots are the woman. But no, I watch it for the behind the scenes drama of like a reality show. Even though I don't watch all that stuff. But I swear to God, I don't. This show though made me actually appreciate like some of the production members that go on behind this stuff, and cast and crew as well, I would say, cast and crew working on a show like this, even though it's obviously fictional. But I love also, I think I mentioned it before in last year's TV ranking when I talked about season 1, I love how it's shot like a reality show as well. So overall, I'm done with Unreal. Am I glad I watched it? Maybe. It is one of the most surprising shows I've ever seen because I never expected it to be as good as it was. But hey, I guess people do like it. So that's that. Alright guys, number 20 is going to be The X-Files Season 8. Yes, Season 8 was good, but unfortunately, after Season 5, this show has played it very safe in my eyes. But Season 8 is my least favorite season of the entire show just because Mulder's not really fully involved in this season. Instead, you have John Daggett, played by Robert Patrick, and I like this character, don't get me wrong, but when I think of X-Files, I think of the great dynamic between Gillian Anderson and David Duchovny. And this season did not really have that. at all, I would say. But it's still a good season. I still liked it. I'm curious to see how the next couple of seasons turn out of the show. But overall, season 8 was solid, just not my personal favorite. In fact, like I said, it's my least favorite season of the show. Alright, number 19 is The X-Files season 7. And I like season 7 more than 8 because this time you actually had Mulder and Scully together. Even though this was the last season of the original Mulder and Scully seasons before the show really started to change, but I still enjoyed it. Again, I did not love it. Season 5 will always remain my favorite season of the show, as well as the first 3 seasons. The first 5 seasons, that era, maybe minus season 4. Actually, you know what? I guess you can include season 4 as well. But the first 5 seasons of The X-Files, those 5 seasons had some of my favorite episodes of a sci-fi show I've ever seen. It's so good, so clever, so creative. And X-Files is just one of the shows that kind of blurs the line between serialized and episodic, if that kind of makes sense. It kind of feels like an anthology show, I would say. You can watch it and you don't have to watch every episode. There are certain episodes you can skip, and that's the beauty of a show like this. But overall, I still love the mythology side of things, even though it's not the strongest and best. But at the same time, I loved seeing Mulder and Scully on screen together. That's why I keep coming back to this show overall. Alright, number 18 is The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power Season 2. And I thought Season 2 was slightly better than Season 1, but not by a lot. I feel like Season 1, it still struggles to maintain balance between characters. I'm still blanking on certain characters' names. But overall, I like Season 2. And I kind of saw some of the the big surprise reveals and all that. I knew who the stranger was. I was oh, it's kind of obvious who it is. I'm not gonna obviously say who it is. That's a big spoiler. But when you watch it, you might also know who it is. And I'm interested to see what they do with season 3. We're probably gonna have to wait until 2026 because this is one of the streaming shows that comes out every 2 years, which Stranger Things and Euphoria definitely should take notes. But then again, I get it. The strikes and what happened in the world, which I can't say because I guess YouTube would still strike me down for saying it. But anyway, I'm excited for season 3. I hope it's better than season 2. Also, I do think the battle was a little overhyped. People say, oh, it's one of the greatest battles on TV ever. No, it was not. I mean, it was cool, but I was expecting more action and less dialogue. Look at Helm's Deep. Look at how perfect of a scene that is. But then again, I get it. That's a movie, and this is a show. Alright, number 17 is Yu Yu Hakusho Season 4. Yes, Season 4 of Yu Yu Hakusho was good. I liked it more than 1 or 2. It did a good enough job of ending the show nicely. But at the same time, I feel like there was more to be desired, if that kind of makes sense. The first half of the season, though, was really solid, really strong. But the second half, I feel like they kind of dragged it out. They threw in a tournament for God knows what reason. And it kind of made it feel a little bit repetitive at the same time. But anyway, still a good season. It ended up the show nicely. So that's all that matters. If it didn't, then I don't know if I'll put it this high overall. Alright, number 16 is Halo Season 2. And excuse me guys, sorry, I'm talking and raising my voice quite a bit, but I apologize. Anyway, number 16 is Halo Season 2. And I like Season 2 more than 1. But again, not by much. It's definitely better. You have one genuinely great episode. I think it's episode 4 titled Reach. That was amazing. Unfortunately, Paramount Plus canceled the show, so we will never see the full potential of Halo. Oh man, that sucks, doesn't it? Alright, number 15 is Full Metal Alchemist. The 2003 anime that I just did a review a couple days ago. This was good. I liked it, but I can't put it that high because this other season just personally impacted me, blew me away more. But overall, still a good show. 15, I think, is a very nice spot to put it because it's like that halfway mark placement. Considering that I've seen 31 seasons of TV this year, this is a nice spot to put it. And I really have to think for a second. Do I like this more than Halo? And the more I think about it, yes, I do. Because Halo did not have the strong storyline that this show did. This anime did, I would say. It had that one genuinely great episode, but this show, the second half of the show, really saved it for me. And if you've seen my review, you probably know what I'm talking about. Alright, number 14 is Mayor of Kingstown Season 2. And unfortunately, Season 2 was not as good as Season 1. but that's okay. I still liked it. The acting's still there. I just felt like they didn't really focus much on Iris this season for whatever reason. And overall, I thought season 2 was a little messy. I felt like at times, started with a focus on this storyline, then this storyline, then that storyline. But either way, though, Jeremy Renner makes this show what it is. He's awesome in the show, and I will be watching season 3. Hopefully next year we'll see what happens. It feels like it's a trend now. Every year I have to watch one of these seasons of Mad Kingstown. So there's that. But I did hear season 3 was a little bit better just based on ratings on serial-wise compared to season 2. And I do know season 4 is coming. They have planned 7 seasons, so we'll see what happens with this show. Alright, number 13 is Attack on Titan season 2. Yeah, remember how I said there is a big gap? I was not kidding. Season 1 was 27 and season 2 is 13. That's like a 14 season difference between the 2 seasons. That's saying a lot. Season 2 is definitely better. It gets a 7.5 where season 1 just gets a 7. I enjoyed season 2 quite a bit more than season 1, but I did not love it. The character development is amazing. The pacing is definitely better. But overall, I can't say I loved the first half of Attack on Titan, which is unfortunate because I know people love the first half, especially, I guess, season 2 overall. But I know when you think of Attack on Titan, you think of the last couple of seasons overall. So there's that. All right. Number 12 is One Piece season 16. And this was a good season. I liked it. But again, I didn't love it. It was definitely one of the more better seasons of the fun, adventurous side of things, going to an island and stuff. It was a little more darker, I would say that. But overall, good season. Definitely enjoyed it. Punk Hazard did deliver at times. But I wasn't crazy on the villain. The villain's a menace, definitely for sure. But overall, not the best villain. There's been better villains in this show overall. Sorry, guys. Again, I apologize. But number 11 is going to be Outer Banks Season 4. And the first half of Season 4 of Outer Banks, or OBX Season 4, was solid. But the second half is what made me put this show at number 11. It almost cracks the top 10. It's almost a great season, if not for the first half. The second half saved the show, much like Fullmetal Alchemist's second half. It saved the season overall. They did some really wild, crazy, adventurous things. And when I think of Outer Banks, I'll think of the second half of Season 4. Season 2 is still my favorite. I don't know if the final season will be able to top Season 2, but we shall see. And that final season, man, that has a lot of pressure and a lot riding on it. We'll see what happens. I'm guessing we're going to get it early to mid 2026. That's my guess. Alright guys, now we've made it into the top 10. And these 10 seasons I love. And unfortunately, there's not a single season of TV this year I give a 9 to, which is unfortunate. Last year we had The Last of Us, right? I believe that was only 9 out of 10. Oh no, there was also Fairy Tail season 2, right? Maybe there was some, not season 2. Fairy Tail season 9, the final season. Maybe there was something else, I can't remember. But either way though, this year there was not a single 9 out of 10 seasons. But there were ones that were kind of close to like 8.5. Alright, number 10 is Attack on Titan season 3. This season was really good. I loved that first half. That first half was fantastic. Great character work, great writing, great voice acting, great storytelling. The second half I liked, but I do prefer the first half a lot more. I don't know what it is, guys. This show, maybe the action doesn't hit as hard as like how it does for other people. When I think of Attack on Titan, I think of the character development, the characters, the story, and the writing. That's what makes the show work. That's also why I appreciate Death Note in terms of that element, even though I don't love the show overall. But much like Death Note, the same can be said for Attack on Titan, where I appreciate like the writing and overall, like that's what makes the show work. Again, I don't know if it's like the translation into dub is just really, really good, but the way the show is written is amazing. And the character work in the first half of season 3 is great, especially the focus on Historia. They do a great job with the character. And overall, well, again, I did like the second half of season 3, which everyone says is like peak TV and stuff, peak anime overall. It didn't hit as hard as the first half. If that kind of makes sense. Alright, number 9 is going to be One Piece season 17. Dressrosa. Wow. This might be the most epic season of TV I may have ever seen in my entire life. There is so much shit happening in this season, it's insane. Some of the best storytelling I've seen in an anime for a supporting character, or any TV show in general for a supporting character, is in this season. They delivered. Doflamingo is an amazing, psychotic villain, and I love that character so much. The voice acting is perfect for him, and the fight between him and Luffy is amazing. It's dragged out, but it's dragged out for a reason. But I do wish it was shorter. It does not need to be that long. But overall, I loved it. I guess this is one of those long seasons that I guess I just loved. And I'm glad I did, because I know a lot of people do rate Dressrosa quite highly. But I'm curious to see where the show goes on from here, because man, they did such a good job with Dressrosa. And then when you go to Zao, or Zo, whatever it's called, Zo, right? Or Zao, whatever, anyway. It's like, it was like up at a certain point, and then suddenly goes all the way back down again. Like, why? I don't get it. But I'm curious to see Whole Cake and Wano in the near future. But we'll talk more about what I'm planning to watch next year at the end of this video, I would say, very quickly. Alright, number 8 is Yu Yu Hakusho Season 3. This season, wow, some crazy post-apocalyptic stuff happened this season, man. Sensui is one of my favorite anime villains. I don't care. He's a GOAT villain for me. He's such an interesting and fascinating character. Every time this dude's on screen, you don't know what he's going to do and say next. He's such an interesting character. They did such an interesting... not interesting. They did such a great job making this season interesting. And who would have thought? They even made the little baby guy, like, what's his name? Koenma or something, right? Yeah. They made him such an important part this season. That was really unexpected. And I love that they gave him some edge and seriousness this season. It was great. So overall, Yu Yu Hakusho Season 3 delivered. I thought it was great. And I'm glad I at least loved one of the seasons of this show overall. Alright, number 7 is the Penguin. Yes, Penguin had to make my top 10. I mean, it's really well acted, really well directed, really well shot. Technically, it's perfect, but I can't say I would like rewatch this show. It's not one of the shows I would rewatch. It didn't like blow me away like it maybe did for other people, but this show is definitely going to get all the Emmy praise for sure. I just don't find it as memorable, and I wasn't as entertained as some of the other seasons I've seen and shows overall that I've seen personally. But I can't deny the importance of this show, especially in the Matt Reeves Batman universe and in the comic book genre overall. But I'm glad I watched it though, because Colin Farrell was really good in it, as well as what's her name? Christina Maloney or whatever, the actress who plays Sophia Falcone. Renzi, he did a great job as Victor. Like, the whole cast was great, I would say, overall. And I love that final shot. It is amazing. That final shot is beautiful. And I can't wait for the Batman Part 2. I wish it would come out next year, but oh well, it is what it is. Alright, number 6 is Percy Jackson and the Olympian Season 1. And even though this season did start end of last year in 2023, it finished early this year in 2024. So that's why I'm including it on the ranking. I think I mentioned that also last year as well, that I'll be including it in this year's ranking. And I did. But Season 1 of Percy Jackson delivered. It was awesome, it was fun, it was exciting, and it gave me what I wanted. Fun, fantasy action. And I think these three kids are definitely going to become stars. Maybe not superstars just yet, but stars in the future. And I really cannot wait to see more of this show. It's a blast. I really enjoy it. And yeah, I'm sure Rick Riordan is very happy and just over the moon that his baby, Percy Jackson, got the respect it deserved in terms of an adaptation, even though this is a TV show. But I guess some things translate better as a show because they get to flesh things out overall. Oh, okay. Now, the top 5, guys. Number 5 is Sweet Tooth Season 3, a fantastic ending to a show that sadly went under the radar for so many people. This is such a gem of a show, guys. If you have not seen Sweet Tooth Season 3, please check it out. It's amazing. I love it. Sweet Tooth Season 3 is so good. The whole show is so good. It's one of my favorite shows on Netflix overall. I'm pretty sure it's in my top 10. I'd like to think it is. That it is, yeah. But anyway, Gus, such a great character. And overall, I really liked how the show wrapped up, even though there were elements of the final season this season that did kind of feel like cliched, like, oh, I kind of saw this coming, like, oh, I guess they had to do that because they had to end up the show in some crazy way, right? But either way, though, see, Sweet Tooth wrapped up nicely. This is also kind of like, what was the show I was talking about before? Oh yeah, Stargate SG-1. That's right, guys. Kind of like that. One of the more consistent shows I've ever seen in my life because all the seasons remain the same quality, but did get a little bit better overall. So there's that. All right, number 4, maybe the most divisive and controversial placement on my entire ranking, Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 1. This is the live-action Netflix show that came out back in February this year. And before you say anything, I'm one of those few people that loved it. I don't care. I loved it. This show was awesome. I have not seen the entirety of the original. I probably should. There's still time. I've only seen book 1 actually, all the way through. So there's that. But this show, man, unlike the Shyamalan film, really fleshed the world and characters and story out so much better than that film did. That film is the most rushed film I've ever seen in my entire life. Good lord, that film felt rushed. But this, they definitely took their time. They definitely got what they wanted. And I'm just glad that the cast can do 2 more seasons to really flesh this show out, flesh the world out. Maybe we'll get a season 4, who knows? But I'm glad that the show is getting renewed for season 2 and 3. That means Netflix has confidence. But it's unfortunate that in a couple years we won't see this show again. But at least people can watch it if they haven't seen it before and know that there is, in my opinion, a live action version of Avatar that's actually watchable in my eyes. Alright, number 3 is Attack on Titan Season 4. Yes, AOT Season 4 delivered. It gets an 8.5 like these next 2 seasons overall do. But I don't think that it hits as much as it does for other people. I know some people give it a 9, 9.5, 10, but I did not love the middle of the season. I love the start and I love the end. The middle definitely needed some work. I felt this was the weakest in terms of pacing, maybe in my opinion. Like up there in terms of like even season 1 in terms of pacing. But the first 9, 10 episodes of season 4 were fantastic. Wow, that surprised the hell out of me. Good lord, that was so good. But then the middle came and I was like, oh, okay, here we go. Now it's starting to feel a bit dragged out. But overall, I loved AOT Season 4. It was really, really good. But not as good as these next 2 seasons, which we've now made it to the top 2. And these 2 seasons are both from the same show. And I'm going to say what they are right now. Number 2 is Yellow Jacket Season 1. Yes, I am a Yellow Jackets fan. Now, I love this show. I'm a sucker for survival shows. I don't care if the show is woke or feminine or whatever. It's great. The acting is so good, especially from the young cast. They do such a good job in the show. And that's the element of the show that I love. I'm not the biggest fan of their adult counterparts and stories. Not to say that their acting and characters are bad. It's just the young stuff is really interesting, especially whenever they focus on Shona, who's my girl. I don't care. I love her. She's one of my favorite fictional characters I've seen. I just like characters that go through so much and experience so much. And she has definitely gone through it, especially when we get to season 2. But season 1 did such a good job of introducing us to the show, the idea of these teens surviving by themselves, and I love this show. There's so many theories online about what's going to happen, and I'm really curious to see where the show goes. But what I do love season 1. Number 1 for me, out of every season of TV I've seen this year, is Yellow Jacket Season 2. That season was amazing. It was really good. Does not get a 9, but I'll be lying if I didn't say it does not get an 8.5. Overall, the show's an 8, but both seasons, if that kind of makes sense, get an 8.5. It's kind of weird how I rate things overall, but season 2 I thought was better than season 1. The setting was very different because it was, I guess, taking place during winter, like the wilderness survival stuff. It felt tonally very different. It was more gruesome, more intense. I would say the acting was a lot stronger this time, especially from the teens and even the adults as well. And I'm curious to see what season 3 has in store. I'm sad though that season 2 was not nearly as loved as season 1 was, but overall, I do have faith that I'm sure me and the critics and audiences will be on the same page for season 3 and hopefully maybe season 4 and 5 overall. So there's that. But guys, there you guys have it. That is my TV ranking for 2024, all 31 seasons of TV I've seen this year ranked. Now, before I go, I do want to mention what I'm planning on doing next year in 2025. First, for the live action shows, I'm saying goodbye to Stargate SG-1 and X-Files after so many years of watching both those shows. I'll be watching SG-1 first seasons 9 and 10 alongside Stargate Atlantis season 2 and 3 because, according to the watch order, you can, I guess, kind of have to watch both shows back to back. Like I did for season 8 of SG-1 and season 1 of Atlantis this year. So I'll be watching Atlantis and SG-1 or SG-1 Atlantis first next year. Then I'll be going back to One Piece and then X-Files. I'll be knocking out the last 3 seasons. So seasons 9, 10, and 11. And even though that's a lot, season 10 is 6 episodes and season 11 is only 10 episodes. Whereas season 9 is the last of the 20 episode seasons, I would say. Now, that's for the live action shows. For the anime, like I said, I will be going back to One Piece next year. But just like this year, but also unlike this year, I'll be watching a little less in terms of seasons and arcs. Because, while this year I saw 3 seasons / arcs, even though it wasn't really 3 arcs, but 3 seasons overall, season 16, 17, and 18. Next year, I'll just be going through season 19, Whole Cake Island, and season 20, Wano, because Whole Cake itself is 109 episodes, and Wano, that season is at least, maybe not the arc, but that season is, but Wano is almost 200 episodes. That is so long. That's almost 2 months. That's a month and a half of me watching, I'm pretty sure, based on my calculations, from what I remember calculating it. But anyway, Egghead is still not over. So what's the point of me rushing to get to Egghead? But I'm glad that I did see 3 seasons this year. Next year, though, there'll be a little less One Piece, but a lot in terms of how many episodes I watch, if that kind of makes sense. And then when it comes to the other anime, I've already decided what I'm planning on watching. You probably know what one of them is, but the other 2 I don't want to reveal just yet because I like to keep that a bit of a secret and surprise. And then in terms of the shows that are coming out next year, almost every one of the shows that I'm looking forward to is a returning show. Minus Daredevil Born Again. Out of every season of TV that's either coming out or returning next year, that's my most anticipated season of TV next year. With Stranger Things Season 5 being number 2. Because, of course, who isn't excited for the final season of that show? And it's sad, But as one show ends, another begins. Which, in my eyes, Stranger Things ending, Daredevil's beginning. So at least I have something to look forward to overall in terms of TV. And of course, Last of Us is come back. I would have loved Euphoria to come back, but sadly it's not. Wheel of Time's come back, Yellow Jackets, Percy Jackson, One Piece, the live action show, and a couple other things. Wonder Man and Ironheart are also coming out next year, so there's that. But guys, overall, that's my TV ranking video done for 2024. That was a lot I went through. Hopefully it wasn't too long. If it was, I apologize, but I actually can't see how long it is because I'm recording using iMovie. So I hope it didn't go on for more than an hour, because if it did, I apologize. But guys, there you guys have it. That is my TV ranking video done. I do have a couple more videos planned. I still have to see Elevation, the Anthony Mackie sci-fi movie, so there's that. And I will be seeing Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Mufasa the Lion King on the 31st with my friend. It's pretty much confirmed now. We just have to book it. So there's that. We got both showtimes ready and available, whatever. But anyway, I will be watching both those on the 31st of this month. So look forward to a double review video, which I haven't done in years now. I did one in 2020 with Mulan and the one and only Ivan. So this will be kind of interesting to talk about both those in one review combined, I would say. Also, I have to do my ranking for every movie I've seen this year, because I haven't even seen 10 movies. I've only seen 9. Venom was number 9. So when I see Elevation, that'll be 10. When I see Sonic 3 and Mufasa, that'll be 12. So at least I would have seen 12. That's the plan. We shall see what happens. But guys, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this this video, guys. I'm so used to saying review, that's why. But anyway, guys, tell me, what do you think about this ranking? I apologize if I went a little too fast, if you couldn't understand what I was saying at times, because I was just rambling on. But I hope it all made sense, hope it was clear. You can always go back and re-watch it, right? But guys, tell me, how many seasons did you see this year? What would be your ranking? And also, what's your favorite show of the year? Is it Penguin? Is it, I don't know, maybe Agatha? In terms of a new show, I know people love Shogun. I've not seen it. And I also know Squid Game came out, so there's that. But I did not watch season 1. Squid Game's just not a show that I'm particularly into, so there's that. But I'm excited for 2025 in terms of new shows, the old shows, and of course the stuff I plan to finish next year. I should say The X-Files and Stargate SG-1. But guys, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. My name's Nikhil, otherwise known as the Comic Director, and I'm signing out.